presenter is Soren Hodshire, and the title of their project is called Nonbinary Identities and the Self, a contemporary analysis of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, gender identity and existentialism. Through the theoretical framework of queer theory, existentialism, and a queer reading of the film Hedwig and the Angry Inch from 2001, this project analyzes and interrogates ideas of non-binary identities and how other people's perceptions of ourselves can determine an element of our existence. Hedwig and the Angry Inch gives a platform to explain and critique contemporary understandings of gender identity and expression, non-binary identities in particular, and how, through the subject's own creative works, can their existence be recognized. Sorry.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Soren. This is Nonbinary Identities and the Self, a contemporary analysis of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, gender identity and existentialism. So, the way people see us will never be the way we see ourselves. Dramatic, but it's true. We split ourselves into metaphorical pieces. We present different facets of our personality to each person in our lives. This is not a bad thing necessarily, but it's a thing that happens, right? The intersections of our identities exist. We're never just a sibling, a child, a worker, nor a student, but rather we're a complicated conglomeration of the products of our environments wholesale. The question I'm asking is, what happens when no one recognizes your gender? Do you exist? I argue that in absence of formal recognition, John Cameron Mitchell's film Hedwig and the Angry Inch shows a way in which non-binary identities and gender non-conforming identities are made tangible. Despite the fact that legal recognition, or sometimes even social recognition, of non-binary identities does not exist, through creative acts, performing, and self-recognition, it is possible to exist. This project demonstrates that Hedwig goes beyond disrupting gender binaries to giving up on gender binaries altogether and postulating the existence of a creative identity beyond male or female. The film Hedwig and the Angry Inch, 2001, directed, written, and starred by John Cameron Mitchell, is an adaptation from their 1998 off-Broadway musical about a transgender rock star from East Berlin, Germany, who survives a coerced sex reassignment surgery, moves to the US in pursuit of finding their other half, their soulmate, and chases down the man who stole their music. Told in a circular style, the audience initially meets Hedwig, present day, and they tell their story of how they become an internationally known song stars barely standing before you. The narrative explores the titular's character's past and gender identity through song and performance. This entire ethos that drives them is derived from Plato's Symposium, to the quest of finding their missing half, and assuming that someone else will complete them. At the end of the film, Hedwig realizes that they are a whole, complete person, without the need of another half. And to find another half would be, first of all, affirming gender identities, the power of gender binaries, and also cheapen their own existence as a complicated person and artist. People usually think about gender in binary terms, right? Man, woman, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And these roles have connotations and attach them that govern gendered behavior. Trans men and trans women especially are actually expected to further these binary expectations and expressions even more than cis people, right? So a cis woman who doesn't shave her leg might be deemed as a feminist, but it's expected that trans women shave their legs. How's that fair? How's that legal? Okay? From what scholars know about history, semiotics, and other gender studies, binary genders are not an immovable fact. Gender is a social construct, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Okay, it's very real, feels real. But the idea of gender performativity correlates with gender as a social construction. Queer theorist Judith Butler writes, gender is instituted through the stylization of the body and hence must be understood as the mundane way in which bodily gestures, movements, and enactments of various kinds constitute the illusion of a binding gendered self, end quote. So, this brings me to the first song. The introductory song is called Tearing Me Down, and it establishes Hedwig as a gender non-conforming individual at first. It introduces the credits, and it shows us a body that's disconnected from their surroundings. as a person who is most comfortable during performing. Performing in a creative space where a person can explore the fluidity of gender compared to strict social relationships in everyday life are two very different experiences where gender expression very much matters. And I'm going to show you a video clip. Maybe.
Go back. Just have a little left. No, go back to the crow.
Oh, wow, right here.
There you go. Oh, left. There you go. There it is.
So this
Community work.
You're not up there. You don't know. Okay. So,
And what's all the difference between original? When I'm in the middle, man, wow, nothing at all. I'm crazy, I'm safe. That's why I'm telling you. The only thing I tell you, that's why I'm telling you. I'm crazy, I'm safe.
all right. That's good. Okay. I guess Cool. So, throughout the film, the Angry Inch Band, as you saw, performs at various Midwestern restaurants throughout the movie called Bilgewater. It's a fictional restaurant, it's a running gag. Most of the customers actually look very perplexed and uncomfortable by Hedwig's performance throughout the entire song. In the introductory song, the lyrics analyze the dichotomy between genders with the Berlin Wall. There ain't much of a difference between a bridge and a wall. Without me right in the middle, baby, you'd be nothing at all. The lyrics not only suggest Hedwig is in between the constructs of man and woman, but also establishes them as a metaphor of the Berlin Wall that is eventually torn down. During the song, Hedwig is wearing an all-blue jean romper that's sparkly, with an American flag-inspired cape. On the right it says, "Yankee, go home." On the other side it says, "With me." Hedwig goes through various trials and tribulations throughout the entire film, but where the self is hard to define, Hedwig is defined through music. When Tommy, in X, steals that music, Hedwig has to chase him down because he has not only stolen Hedwig's music, but also stolen parts of Hedwig's identity and how they know to define themselves. Part of the reason why the music is so important to Hedwig is because Hedwig created that music and it was based off of very specific experiences in their life, often traumatic ones as well. Tommy Gnosis literally appropriates everything from Hedwig, but he's given the fame, the fortune, and the notoriety. In fact, his stage name, Tommy Gnosis, is a gift from Hedwig himself, and it was an idea from Hedwig. Much like how Hedwig seeks recognition from a person who is deemed to be more powerful, Tommy Gnosis, Hedwig needs to be seen to begin with. And in order to be seen, they must understand the self that they're trying to be. To be recognized as a whole person, as well as a creative one, is important. So, I'm jumping to the end, the last song, Midnight Radio, where Hedwig embraces the aesthetic of Tommy Gnosis, and in this way is almost a forgiveness, and sheds previous feminine attire, but remains as they truly are, a rock star singing truthfully. Let me show you this clip.
Like your blood knows the way.
So, Hedwig is the one that's singing. It's also bare-chested now and with the silver cross that Tommy Gnosis usually had. So first of all, when they create entirely new songs, like Midnight Radio, they are a complete and whole new version of themselves, previous from identities and ready to start anew. But this does not mean that they are free from gendering in society. They're naked at the end of the film and walking down a dark alleyway, and this is framed as a rebirth of identity, love, gender, ideas, and what it even means to be a person again after being defined by other people for so long. Hedwig's mother has always told them, absolute power corrupts absolutely, so they feel as if they were taught to not seek power at all. Hedwig has never felt like they were in control of their own life, and it's only until Hedwig starts to write creatively, composing their own music and performing it, that they can seek the power they wish they had previously, if at all. If their self-definition to begin with, this lies within the realm of both queer theory and philosophy. Hedwig does ascertain a certain amount of agency at the end of the film, but is not constrained by any other gender roles for the time being. Okay. They realize they can present in any way they want to when they're creating their own work and their own performances. Where Descartes' philosophy is, I think, therefore I am, Hedwig's philosophy becomes, I sing, therefore I am me through song. And it's only when they create new songs like Midnight Radio, they are whole. Thank you.